Welcome back to Country Dance Spotlight. My name is Rob Ironside. I'm the president and one of the instructors for the Country Pride Dance Club. And Stuart's with me here again today. How you doing, Stuart?
Doing great. Good to be here.
And Stuart, what's your role with Country Pride?
So I work as the grants director. I do a bunch of volunteering and learn how to dance as well, which is
And
the
he's
fun
been
part.
and he's been doing some promotional stuff, and that's why he's helped me out with the
Right.
podcast as well. So I appreciate that, Stuart. So today's topic is social dance survival. And this is one topic that I've wanted to do a talk and podcast about for quite a while. We sometimes kind of feed this or kind of pieces of this information into our lessons, but one of the things that's near and dear to my heart is the creation of the dance floor etiquette graphic that we're going to start with. That I actually put this together with when I was with and still am with the Alberta Country Western Dance Association. So I'll get that up on the screen, and that is going to be our topic of discussion to begin with here. So as you can see, dance floor etiquette is one thing. If people knew this when they were at a wedding or you go to the bar or a social function, this would make it a little bit easier for everybody to exist on the floor all at the same time. Dance floor etiquette is just showing people that there's a line of dance instead of just a complete confusion around the dance floor. And you dance in a counterclockwise rotation. So, Stuart, you can see my mouse and I'm doing this, right?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So dances that go around and are progressive dances are two-step, polka, and waltz. They go around in a counterclockwise rotation. Dances that are stationary, like swing dances, East Coast swing, West Coast swing, jive, and cha-cha, for example, don't move around a lot, so they can be toward the center of the floor. And if anybody was to do any line dancing, they can be in the center of the floor as well. Because if those people were to dance on the edges, you'd have people running into them all the time. And I know Stuart can attest to this when we've been out socially, when we were all at Billy Bob's. It used to be Billy Bob's and now Long Riders. This works, right?
It does work. It works as long as everyone knows about it. And it works until about 11:30.
Yeah, that's right. And I think that applies to the same thing at weddings too.
Yeah.
I think one thing I'll just mention here about this graphic, we're going to go down the points on the list here, but the line of dance is meant so that this is always progressing. You see the lanes that I have here, the faster. If they're faster dancers, they can go in the outside lane. Slower dancers kind of take the inside lane. But the big thing is that people don't go backwards. Sometimes, I mean, if you've got people going around and around, and I've seen this in more in old style, functions and community halls where somebody will be dancing along and then they'll take 2 or 3 steps back and then they'll continue on. Well, that just is, it's hard to keep the flow of dancing going. Another big thing is don't cross the center of the floor. If you're here and you don't have a way, I mean, you can dodge people and go around them, but keep going around. But if you go through the center of the floor, or if the swing dancers or line dancers go out into the flow of traffic, it just kind of messes things up. And again, Stuart, I know you've seen that in real life when you go out.
Yeah, it does happen for sure. I mean, like I said before, not everyone sort of knows the rules. And then, like we've talked about, sometimes folks like to just hang out and talk with their friends on the dance floor,
Yeah.
which isn't always the best.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you want to call these rules or, just etiquette, I guess there's just some helpful hints for everybody to get along. And you'll see that this list of hints that as we go down here is definitely a kind of a guideline, and it's dated. If you see the first one that I have up here, keep the floor safe, leave your drinks and cigarettes at the table. Well, guess what? Cigarettes don't exist anymore in bars, thankfully. So that's not an issue, but you still see people out there on the floor with drinks. And that happens, unfortunately, way too often. And if people are out there and they drop their drinks, obviously it makes a mess. But then if they have bottles of whatever out there on the floor in a bar, then it's causing a bit of a hazard too. So, and yeah, that's not good. Any comments, Stuart?
Just for the people who are listening, when you say the bottle becomes a hazard, like what do you mean by that?
Broken glass.
I've also seen folks will be doing a spin with one hand, so they stretch out and they got the bottle in the other hand, and so it's basically like a club, and they're not even looking behind them.
Yeah.
So you don't want to take one of those in the face. Yeah, it's better for everyone if you don't.
Yeah.
So that's why we say drinks, probably want to leave them somewhere.
Yeah. Sometimes I know girls are concerned about people leaving drinks at the table. Just have your girlfriend or friends watch your drink, I guess, if you leave it there. Anyways, we'll just continue down the list because we've got some other tips here that we're going to go to. Go with the flow counterclockwise is the normal direction. Always be courteous to other dancers on the floor. I mean, inevitably, you're going to bump into people. Um, just try to be careful that you don't. I've mentioned this too before, is that the outside lane is for faster dancers, the inside lane is for slower. Stationary dancers should not block the normal flow of traffic. So, every once in a while you'll have people move in, and you can, go to the outside a little bit, but just try to keep it in this general formation. That way people can all get along. As Stuart mentioned, the dance floor is for dancing, socialize at your table. And then kind of one that is just I don't know, courtesy or a little bit old fashioned, but dance with the one who brought you, especially the first and last dances of the evening. Dancing is obviously one of those social things that if you have a bunch of friends, that you're going to be out there dancing with other people. But yeah, have fun with it, but dance with the one that you're with. So that's a graphic that we put together a long time ago. I did have a dream at one time that this get put up in all the bars so that people would be a little more courteous to each other, but that hasn't happened. But it'd be nice if people understood this. Any last comments to this graphic, Stuart, before we leave it?
I was just wondering, like when you've danced in different parts of the country, or if you when you've been dancing down in the US, have they ever had that posted anywhere?
No. I've seen many different versions of this online
Mm.
that different organizations and dance clubs have put together. So I'm not alone on the desire to try to educate people about this. Other organizations and I think facilities too have wanted to kind of make this aware, but no, I haven't seen it posted anywhere.
Okay.
Unfortunately. Okay, so we're back. Um, so we're going to continue on and just talk about kind of social dance survival. We've talked about how if you follow that dance floor etiquette, that you can have a lot of people out on the dance floor at the same time and all get along, and it works really quite well. The next thing is kind of the difference between if you're dancing at a social, at a wedding, or if you're in a bar, or you're at a social function. I think a wedding is one of the more friendly places that people can go to be able to dance socially, and people are all friendly with each other and courteous on the dance floor. Same with social functions; people are pretty courteous and try not to run into each other. I think as the night goes on, at weddings in particular, you might get a little bit more energetic. Is that the right word?
Yes.
And people might run into each other. But bars are by far the worst, especially, I think when the clock hits 11 o'clock or some, you know, depends, I guess, on what city you're in.
Mm-hmm.
But my goodness, once it hits a certain time of night, yeah, it gets a little tough to be able to have a lot of people on the floor at the same time. The next one, important partnership skills when you're trying to navigate the floor. So one thing that we try to teach people in our classes on tips of navigating is just being able to have a good partnership uh, between the leader, usually the man, and the woman, so that the guy can actually lead her and not run into other people. So teaching good lead and follow technique for both the men and the women. Um, some guys are, a little too concerned about forcing the woman around, but at the same time, they want to be able, the women need to be able to feel a lead so she can be confident because she's going backwards, that she's not going to crash into somebody.
Hmm.
Um, so guys need to know how to lead, be confident with that, direct the lady where she needs to go. And if you're doing a turn or whatnot, you can go ahead and be able to turn her so she can feel comfortable and safe at the same time. As far as the women are concerned, we've kind of taught them if you're going to be a follow, how do you follow the guy? Watch where he's looking, watch his chest as far as where he's kind of pointing the direction, and then that'll be able to give you a good indication of where he's going. The next point on that topic, as far as lead and follow, is being able to dance on the spot and marking time is as a way to dodge other people and couples on the floor. I think it sounds oversimplistic, but at the same time, being able to do the footwork and do it on the spot and mark time, like we talked about, is a little tricky. A lot of people have a hard time doing the footwork on the spot and not losing their footwork. Um, and so that's an important skill to have under your belt. Have you done that, Stuart, or any comment toward that?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of think of it as just pausing, but you do still keep moving. I feel like we give like an opportunity to try that out in lessons, wouldn't you say?
We definitely do, and
Yeah.
we actually practice that skill when people are out on the floor, and yeah, so we do it as kind of a learning technique, but at the same time, if you're out dancing socially, you need to know how to do that.
Yeah, even when you're teaching us like some new like dance move and the count in, like how you sort of move in place for the first count, that's all it is. So it really gets it into your body. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So marking time, keeping your footwork. Um, if you're dancing with your wife or boyfriend or girlfriend at the same time, over the more you dance together, you'll pick up on little cues that you'll give each other to be able to give hints that you're, so you don't run into people. I know for with my wife Kathy, if I can't see something behind me, she'll squeeze my arm or she'll squeeze my shoulder. And guys, a lot of time you need to hold your lady tighter so that she doesn't get away on you and run into somebody.
Yeah, you look out for each other.
Yeah, for sure. The next big thing on social survival is being able to recognize different dances to what music. Now, we're going to spend a whole podcast going through all the different dances that we do and to what music. But know that the three big things that you need to know is the timing or the time signature for the dance. If it's 3/4 time, then it's waltz. If it's 2/4 or 4/4 time, it could be polka or two-step. So just understanding how to recognize a dance and what it is before you get out there on the floor. The next one is tempo or the speed of the music. If it's too fast, then you maybe can't do a two-step to it. You might have to do something else like a polka. And then the last thing is accent. Accent is, again, something that tells you more of what kind of dance you're going to do to the song. Um, there's a graphic that we have when we go through this with the dances is at a certain beat range in the music, let's say about 110 to 115 beats per minute. Theoretically, there's about 7 different dances you can do to that speed of music. But what makes it different is the accent to the music. So some music,
Mhm.
it doesn't feel like a cha-cha because it's not Latin, or if it's, you know, um, it could be two-step. Some people might try to polka to it. Some people
Right.
might try to do a jive to it. But my point to that, and I know you can comment to this after I just talk about this a bit, is that that's when you'll see people out there on the floor all doing something to the same song. So you have people in the center of the floor, people going around, and some people might be doing line dancing to the very same song.
Yes, as soon as you pick up that skill of knowing what dance goes with what beat, it doesn't take that long to get there, really. I mean, how long with people in lessons, how long do you feel it usually takes them to get used to it?
Well, we practice to slower stuff in our lessons as far as two step is concerned. Two step is one of the wide range as far as the speed is concerned. It can be quite slow, it can be pretty fast. Because we've practiced to the music all the time, I think, if they come to probably two lessons, then
Yeah,
start to recognize it pretty quick.
yeah. The is it the triple two? What's the fast two step? I'm the one where you take triple steps.
Yeah,
Six step.
six step is what we call it.
Yeah. So I know I used to, when I was beginning, like try and do a two step to music that was definitely too fast for it. And if you do six step, then you catch up. But just because the dance is quicker, like six step, doesn't mean it's really harder to do. At least I didn't find it. It's just different.
Yeah. And then some stuff, it borderlines when it's really, really fast two step, it almost transitions to a polka. So you
Mm-hmm.
might get some people that find that they like to polka to a song more than they like to try to do a really super fast two step. And that's fine too.
Yeah.
You'll see people doing both. There's no, the big thing about this is don't get down on other people for trying to do something different
Yeah.
on the floor and say, oh, that's not a two step. You can't do that. Well, they can do whatever they want. It's dancing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But I mean, and again, that's where the dance floor etiquette comes in, is that you can have a lot of people out on the floor doing whatever they want, and it's all good. They're all out there to have fun, have a good time with it. I think the last thing to talk about here is that DJs don't cater to dancers.
Right.
They don't pick in particularly good dance music. What they do is that they'll pick popular music. Um, so a lot of time people might think, oh, this is such a great Tuesday. Oh no, let me back up. Sometimes DJs will even make this mistake. They'll say, oh, here comes a waltz because it's just a
Right.
slow song. And that's probably one of the most, um, I don't know, ones that is kind of the most misconception. Just because it's a slow song doesn't necessarily mean it's a waltz. It could
Mm-hmm.
just be a slow dance, in which case, sometimes if it's a really slow song, it's what we call nightclub two-step. So it's a really slow romantic dance. All it is slow, quick, quick, slow, quick, quick, slow. Whereas waltz is not like that at all. Waltz is in 3/4 time, and that slow music is a different timing signature. So yeah, DJs and people both can make that mistake.
Yeah.
It's a really popular song. Oh, I love this song, but it's not what they say it is. You can hop in, Stuart, if you have a comment to that.
I think most DJs are pretty good about, if you know the music that you want, you just let them know. They're usually going to play it, especially at weddings. But yeah, you definitely can't, if it feels wrong, like if you're trying to put together the dance to the beat and something's really awkward, it's probably, that it's not the right music for that dance.
Right.
And don't listen to what they're saying because they aren't the dancer.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, just because people are up there all doing something different doesn't mean that they're wrong. Just like we've talked about earlier, there is actually certain speeds of music where you can do a number of different dances. And it's just whatever people hear the music and whatever speaks to them, they can go ahead and do that. So they can dance the different songs. As far as picking the song that you're going to dance to, a hint as far as singles are concerned. If you're going to go out there and ask somebody to dance before you get out on the dance floor, kind of tap your foot to the music and think quick, quick, slow, slow, or figure out the dance it is before you go and ask somebody to
Yeah.
dance. So when you ask them to dance, you can say, oh, do you want to go do a two-step, or do you want to do a swing? Do you know how to do an East
Mm-hmm.
Coast? Do you know how to do West Coast swing? You want to try that to the song? Because then you're not fumbling around out there on the floor and feeling like you're being stupid. because you're not.
Yeah.
You're out
Well,
there to have fun.
especially if you asked, hey, do you want to dance, and they expected two-step and you were planning whatever, six-step or something. You're really putting them on the spot, and yourself, because like what do you might want, you don't really want to teach them on the fly, right? So
Exactly.
it's just a really good idea.
Not
I was
teaching.
also thinking too, depending on who you're dancing with, and if you like to dance with lots of different other dance partners, sooner or later you're going to run into it where they say they know how to do it and they don't know how, or it'll be like things have gotten really energetic and there's just no dancing to the beat anymore. Like you're just doing moves. And I think in that position, rather than like stopping them and like giving them a lecture, the most polite thing is to just go to the end of the song and then be like, thank you. And then probably find a different dance partner, unless you thought that was fun.
Yeah.
But like, they didn't come there to like learn from you, you know?
Yeah. Giving people a dance lesson out on the dance floor in front of other people in a social setting, it doesn't work.
No.
Singles can ask them to go and do a specific dance. Singles could also do line dancing. We haven't talked about line dancing a whole bunch, but like men and women both do line dancing. I think women tend to like line dancing more than guys as a general rule, but that's being a little stereotypical. I've done a lot of line dancing. I don't mind it. I enjoy watching line dancing more than but I mean at the same time, again, people can do all this different things out on the floor at the same time.
Sometimes it seems like um, women are more willing to learn it in public because guys always know how to do Cadillac Ranch.
Yeah.
But if there's one they don't know, most of the majority won't go out and pick it up for the first time. But of course, I've seen it happen.
Yeah.
It's just usually if you walk into a bar and someone was to say they're line dancing right now. Do you think there's more guys doing it or more girls? Almost always more girls.
Yeah, definitely.
But there's like, I was surprised to learn, like when I started coming out with Country Pride, there's hundreds of line dances.
Yes.
I don't think you couldn't learn them all.
No.
There's so many.
No, and because if a new song comes out, then somebody ultimately will choreograph a song or choreograph to that song. So it's another new line dance out there.
Yeah, you can make your own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, the one thing about this, I'll just say that if you see a couple out there on the dance floor, they're having a good time, they're not running into people, they make a mistake or two, but they're still having fun. You don't think they look stupid. So you're no different. So that's the one thing I'd just tell people to remember if you're thinking about social dance survival is that, it's about having a good time out there on the floor. Don't worry if we make mistakes. Be courteous to others and be tolerant if you're out there on the floor. And everybody can have a good time.
For sure.
Any last comments, Stuart, in regards to social dance survival?
I think we covered some really good essentials there, and yeah, if folks can just keep them in mind, I mean, it makes life easier.
Absolutely. Well, thank you everybody for joining us today, and we'll see you on the next podcast. Thanks very much.
See you then.